Hi, I'm Stina MacDougall. Welcome back to another episode of Get Outside. It's late summer, which is one of my favorite times of the year. The weather is generally beautiful, which makes it that much more enjoyable to get outdoors and explore. Our shows consist of several segments. First will be our producer Jim McDougall, who gives us a general overview of the show Get Outside. Then we'll have several feature presentations. First up will be Richard Walnowitz, who shows us the lesser-known Lepidopteras, the moths. Most of us are familiar with the butterflies, but we'll be seeing some great pictures of beautiful moths. Then Sarah Spear is back with a piece produced by her dad, Bob Spear. Sarah takes us on a tour at the Essex County Greenbelt's Cox Reservation in Essex, where there's a program being led by a wild edible expert, Russ Cohen. Then, Jim McDougall's gone fishing, and he takes us on a tour where we'll hopefully land a big striper. Then, Tom Young is back, showing us some beautiful birds along the coastline of Essex County during these late summer months. I'll be back at the end of the show with a resource review. So sit back and relax and enjoy the next commercial-free 30 minutes while we take you on a tour to see some of the nature of Essex County.
Hello and welcome to Get Outside, a locally produced television show that features the abundance of natural resources and wildlife that exist right here in Essex County, a small county just north of Boston and within easy ride from southern New Hampshire, southern Maine, and the central and western parts of the state. Our goal is really to introduce you to some of the wonderful places that we have in Essex County. Properties owned by the Essex County Greenbelt Association, Massachusetts Audubon Society, the trustees of reservations, as well as the Division of Forest and Parks and Mass Wildlife. We really want you to take advantage of these properties, get outside, see some wildlife, and really know what you're looking at. So we've offered some tips and some resources that we think are extremely valuable and are worth acquiring. All of the great wildlife that you're seeing and the show is shot locally right here in Essex County. Our show is only 30 minutes long, but if you want more information on natural history in the area and places to go, you can always visit our website, which is getoutsidetv.org. So what we need to do is get outside.
Let's join Richard Walnowitz in Magnolia as we learn more about moths.
Moths are often the overlooked representatives of the lepidopteran world, the world of butterflies and moths. They account, though, for over 95% of this order. Looked at another way, for every butterfly you see, there are this many moths. For the second year in a row, a gray catbird has nested in our rhododendron bush outside our front door. Its young anxiously await the arrival of food from its parents. On the other side of our front door is an equally, if not more exciting feature, our porch light. Come dusk, the nocturnal inhabitants of our fields and forests come alive. One of the things some of them seem incapable of resisting is the gravitational pull of our porch light. Hundreds of moths visit during the course of the season, from the giant silk moths like this Polyphemus to the small inchworm moths like this lace border. There is the pale beauty who starts off lime green and slowly fades to pure white. There are tigers and loopers, geometers and dagger moths. There are prominents and hooktips, zeos and ferns. There are the sphinx moths, whose cryptically patterned forewings hide them from most predators during the day, but flash their hind wings if disturbed. And then there are the beautiful underwing moths, whose hind wings earn them their name. Against the white backdrop of our house, the patterns on these moths say nothing of their camouflage abilities. Dressed in their drab blacks and whites, browns and grays, these moths can literally disappear against the trunk of a tree or the leaf litter along the forest floor. Some moths blend in beautifully against the backdrop of lichen-covered rocks. Other moths, who emerge as adults in the fall, mimics the colors of the changing foliage to better camouflage themselves from predators. The Drexel's Detana becomes a dried leaf on the end of a broken branch. Others mimic, surprisingly enough, a bird turd. These moths are called bird-dropping moths and come in an infinite variety of poop disguises. One of these, the beautiful wood nymph, has iridescent speckled blues that react to sunlight to give the impression that it is a fresh dropping. Still others don't bother to hide at all, but instead advertise their presence in brilliant warning colors of red, orange, and yellow. In the natural world, these colors often signify poisonous or distastefulness, steering potential predators away. If discovered, many moths have large eye spots on their wings that they flash, giving the impression that it is much larger than it really is. Moths that operate by day often resemble stinging wasps or other creatures to help deter predation. Some moths are more familiar to us in their larvae form, like the eastern tent caterpillar, shown here with their characteristic web, and here shown in the adult form. Another one is the Isabella tiger moth, one we know better in its larvae stage as the woolly bear caterpillar. These caterpillars can rival the brilliant colors the adults often adorn. They can also match their camouflage abilities, becoming a damaged section of leaf or the twig on the end of a branch. Many are covered with spiny hairs to help deter predators from dining on them, while others sport strange protuberances from their bodies. Caterpillars can often be found crawling along the trunks of trees or hiding out beneath the leaves they often feed on. Moths are often described as being hairy, but in fact, it is their scales that create this appearance. The colors and patterns on them are created by the microscopic scales that cover their wings and body. These scales also help insulate them on cool evenings. Moths know nothing of the names we give them. Their signatures are written on the wind in the form of chemical fragrances sent out to tempt and lure a potential mate to their side, like these Cecropia moths. Females not only fan their wings to keep warm, but also to send out their perfume on the night's air to attract a mate. Males are equipped with large antennae which aid them in picking up these chemical pheromones.
That was a great piece on moths. I never realized there were so many beautiful moths to see. For further information or perhaps reference guides on moths, be sure to visit our website, getoutsidetv.org. Now let's join Sarah Spear at the Essex County Greenbelt headquarters for a tour with Russ Cohen on wild edibles.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I love to eat a nice cool salad on hot summer days. We usually get our salad fixins from the supermarket, but with all these beautiful plants and flowers around, it makes me wonder, which ones can I eat? Today, I'm going to a program on wild edible plants in Essex. Why don't you come along? I'm at the Essex County Greenbelt's Cox Reservation in Essex. This is a beautiful property with trails going through the woodlands and salt marsh edges. Today, Russ Cohen is leading a walk on wild edibles. Let's go say hi. Hey, Russ.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and
Hi,
welcome
Sarah.
to Get Outside.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I grew up as a kid in Weston, Massachusetts, in Middlesex County, and spent a lot of time growing up playing in the woods and fields when I was a kid. And I learned how to enjoy being outside, but what really made my enjoyment even greater was when I was in high school and learned about edible wild plants. And I took a course when I was a sophomore in high school, and by senior year of high school I was teaching that same class I had taken as a sophomore.
So I understand you're a wild edible plant expert.
That's true. I've been leading courses and giving programs for over 30 years now.
What got you interested in wild edible plants?
Well, first of all, I was already interested in being outside, and I found that it made it even more fun when you could eat some of the landscape as well as look at it. And also, it's a fun way to help celebrate nature and remember how wonderful nature is, to connect with it in a very direct and tangible way through eating it as well as smelling it and looking at it.
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to your program, and I know it's about to begin. So I'm going to join the group, and maybe we can talk a little later.
That sounds great.
All right.
See you then.
All right, bye.
Bye. This is a book that just came out this week that I wrote that Greenbelt published, and it's about foraging. Okay, so please feel free to position yourself in a place where you can see me and hear me, okay? I can't look out for all of you, so the folks that are more diminutive in stature, feel free to barge right to the front, and the taller people can kind of loom behind them in the back. And that would be a good advice to follow as we're walking around and looking at specific things, just to make sure everybody can see everything. So let me give you a few ground rules about foraging. First of all, I'm happy to tell you that in New England, the risk of getting into any kind of serious long-term difficulty from eating the wrong kind of wild plant is relatively low, as long as you don't eat stuff that tastes bad. With very few exceptions, poisonous plants taste bad. Wild things make up at the very most 10% of my diet. So just to anticipate any questions that you might have, you know, do I live entirely off of wild food? No, that would be way too much work. You know, this is something to do as a fun complement to a conventional diet. Just to take one of those plants and just pass it around. And what you want to do with those is just peel the outer leaves away to get to the tender inner part. And that's called the daylily heart or the daylily crown. And you can give it a little taste if you want, or sniff it, and you'll see that it has a kind of an oniony, scalliony quality to it. And actually all daylily parts have that same flavor, but that's a nice tender part, and you could use it raw, or you can cook with it like a scallion. The plant's already starting to grow, new little plants right at the top, and these little bulblets are going to fall off, and provided they can find a place to get to the ground and send some roots in, they'll start to grow little baby plants. Rhubarb leaves are poisonous, but there's nothing poisonous on this plant, In fact, it's got a chemical in it, one of those overall strength boosting, immune system boosting chemicals. So now I'm going to describe the 4 edible stages in milkweed. There is a special cooking method to use for milkweed that I'm going to teach you at the end. So none of this is edible raw I'm going to teach you. You need to cook it a special way. Bing cherries actually, in my opinion, are better as a raw fruit than they are as a cooked fruit. These rose petals are edible. You can put them right into your mouth if you want, or you can use them to decorate a salad or a cake or anything you can make, rose petal jelly or rose petal jam. My attitude about invasives, if you haven't figured this out already, is, you know, if the ecologists are going to eradicate them, so be it. But in the meantime, if they're around and they're edible, I'm going to eat them.
Wow, that was great. I really learned a lot.
Thank you. Well, that was the example of a lot of the stuff that's in my book, the 30 years of accumulated knowledge of foraging and leading foraging walks like this.
Well, thanks for being on the show, and I can't wait to get home and read this.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll see you.
So long.
Bye.
Bye.
There. Perfect. Now not only do I have a tasty salad, but a beautiful one too. And the best part is, I got these things from my own backyard. You may want to dress up your salads with wild edibles too. So make sure that you have a good book like this, and that you know what you're picking. Well, I'm going to dig into this baby, so I'll talk to you soon. Bye!
That was an interesting program led by Russ Cohen. Now let's head over to Gloucester and see Jim McDougall in pursuit of stripers.
Late summer and fall are the times to go striper fishing. And you can work your way to any of the shorelines where you might be able to cast out into a school of striped bass that are migrating south. Now, we don't often think of fish migrating, but striped bass like to move north from the Chesapeake Bay area and Hudson River to our waters sometime in April and May, and then they continue moving north up through Maine and the Bay of Fundy for the summertime. In September, they start to move south, and you can see that with the orange arrow. This is where they trap small bait fish along our coastline, and all hell breaks loose at this point in time. Great time to go fishing. What they like to trap are these pogies. These are menhaden, small ones that are trapped in a cove, and you can see the fish really working these schools that they have corralled. This is what a small pogie looks like, and that's a peanut bunker. And this is what it looks like when the stripers and the bluefish really trap these bait fish in near shore, which makes it great for some surf casting and or fly fishing. When these schools of bait fish are brought in close, what it does is it brings out the seagulls and terns as well. There's a saying among fishermen, big birds, big fish, little birds, little fish. Here's a flock of gulls that are also taking in on the enjoyment of eating menhaden for breakfast. The gulls by themselves, though, create another hazard, so when you hook onto a fish and they flying by over the water can sometimes get caught on your line, so you'll have to drop your fishing rod down to the side to lower the line so that you don't catch any seagulls as they're flying by. And this is on a surf rod. This is a fairly good sized fish that, as you can see, the fishing pole is really doing most of the work for you if you've got a good fishing pole and some good line, and you should pick that up at one of our local tackle stores. The problem with fishing next to the coastline here, particularly with rocky shore, is you're never quite sure where this fish is going to go or how to land it. The best way is to work with waves and let the wave pick the fish up over the rocks, bringing it in. Whether you're on a beach or on a rocky shore, you have to sort of work with the water, and the water will bring that in. Then you hold the fish for a while until the next wave, and then you'll bring that right up over a rock just like this, and it brings it in close to shore. Now, one of the problems is that not all fish are hooked very well, and when they start flapping like this, sometimes the hook comes out, like it will do it right here. So you have to improvise at this point in time and probably get your shoes wet.
Wow.
There is a limit on the size of the type of fish that you can keep. This one's 26 inches and isn't big enough, so it's carefully returned to the ocean to fight another day.
Now let's join Tom Young up at the Parker River National Wildlife Refuge for a look at some late season birds.
Along with its other natural assets, Essex County is blessed with an abundance of pristine salt marsh. It may be tempting to dismiss it as a featureless sweep of green, or brown in winter, but careful exploration, indeed any exploration at all, reveals a world that is as rich in bird life as it is in understated beauty. We'll look at 3 groups of birds that inhabit the salt marsh and are most easily found there. The first group is herons. Large and striking, they grab an observer's attention and are very entertaining to watch. They are stealthy, but they don't mind being out in the open, which is a great benefit to bird watchers. Long, lean, and quick when they need to be, all the herons are expert hunters of fish, although they do occasionally make a slight mistake. However, for sheer grace and beauty, they are unparalleled. Although a fish might not consider this a beautiful sight. Our next group of birds is songbirds. Like this seaside sparrow, they are usually much more difficult to spot than herons. But patience is richly rewarded, because despite their skulking habits, sparrows especially have a subtle but striking beauty. The well-named salt marsh sharp-tailed sparrow is a fine example. Of course, this may be an acquired taste. While the salt marsh is certainly characterized by swarms of irritating mosquitoes, it's fortunate that late summer brings some relief in the form of large flocks of mosquito-eating birds, like these tree swallows. Not coincidentally, these swallow flocks can at times resemble a mosquito swarm. Another voracious mosquito eater is the purple martin, the largest of our swallows. In our area, they nest only in what might be referred to as human-made condominiums atop tall poles. Their populations are declining, so they need more of these condos in open areas with a water view. Basically, they're competing with humans. The final group of birds we'll look at is shorebirds. These are birds that are ideally suited to a salt marsh, as they have long toes for walking on the surface of soft mud, and bills that are adapted to probing for invertebrates deep in the mud. A few species of shorebird breed in our area. The endangered piping plover is one. Like the purple martin, this plover competes with humans. It lays its eggs on beaches, such as Crane Beach in Ipswich. Fortunately, the piping plover is receiving the help it needs, as its nests are protected by barriers to beachgoers and animal predators. Another local breeder is the willet. This female is scolding someone who has gotten close to her nest, which she has hidden in the dense grass. To a school child, August is summer, and make no mistake. But to a shorebird, it's fall. After a brief breeding season in the Arctic, most species of shorebird make incredibly long journeys to their southern wintering grounds. In the late summer, we see them coming through our area, stopping briefly to feed. The shorebirds are a group of birds not known for striking colors, but they are beautiful in their own way, especially when you take time to observe them. And who knows, while you're watching some drab little sandpiper, you never know what may appear. This somewhat ungainly-looking character is a clapper rail, which spends most of its time concealed in tall grass, nimbly slipping its narrow body through some tight spaces. But even a shy bird like this wants to be on stage once in a while, in front of our camera. And it does put on a good show. This little Virginia rail also puts on somewhat of a show as it bathes, although it would probably prefer to be hidden. It's important to note that several of the bird species you have seen, like the salt marsh habitat itself, are in decline and need a strong conservation effort in order to survive and thrive. A good first step in the conservation process is gaining an appreciation for the thing being conserved, whether it's a creature, a habitat, or, as in this case, both. One person can absolutely make a difference. So get outside, visit a salt marsh, and, if you don't have it already, you'll acquire an appreciation for this precious environment.
Hi, welcome to the resource review portion of Get Outside. We have several resources available to help you explore Essex County. These publications were produced by the Essex County Greenbelt Association. Essex County Greenbelt Association has been in business for over 4 decades, protecting land in the Essex County area of ecological, agricultural, or scenic significance. They have conserved close to 12,000 acres of land, all of which is available for your enjoyment. The Greenbelt Guidebook, available at their office in Essex or at bookstores in our area, is a great little guide. It covers roughly 18 of their properties, complete with maps with the trail systems, directions on how to get there, and beautiful pictures. There's also some great natural history information of what you should expect to see at these various properties. At the back of the guide is a nice little nature calendar which depicts the nature that you would expect to see during the first, second, third, and fourth weeks of each month. This guide is only $15. I would urge that you visit the Greenbelt office located on Route 133 in Essex behind Farnham's Clams. It's a great property to explore, and while you're there, stop in their office and pick up this great little guide. They also have open space maps of all of the towns in the Essex County area. You can buy individual maps for $8 or a complete set for $50. Another publication produced by Essex County Greenbelt and written by Russ Cohen is Russ's book about wild plants I have known and eaten. This book is available at the Greenbelt office as well as bookstores in the Essex County area. Russ has generously donated the proceeds from the sale of this book to support Essex County Greenbelt. It's a great buy at only $15. I love his humorous writing. He's got great chapters on all of the different wild edibles along with recipes, and it's so much fun to read. If you'd like further information on any of these products, please contact the Essex County Greenbelt Association. Their headquarters is located off of Route 133 in Essex behind Farnham's Clams. Their phone number is 978-768-7241, or you can visit their website, ecga.org. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time here at Get Outside.